What's going on, everybody? You read the title, so you already know what this video is about, so I'm not going to dive into this is what the video is about. All right, so this is a finished network cable. This is what you see all the time. It's what you use with your internet service provider, stuff that you connect from the modem to maybe another Wi-Fi router or a switch or whatever, right? So this is a finished cable, and we can't make it just like the factory makes it, but we can make it look like it. So here is a cut piece of Cat5 cable. It's just, so it's still wound, so it's kind of weird. But basically, this is what you would need. Okay, you buy a box of like 1,000 feet of Cat5 or Cat6 cable. Let's see what else we got going on here. You know what? I'm not gonna go into like what I wrote an outline. I'm not gonna go into like a whole bunch of what is a network cable, what is the differences between Cat5, Cat6, Cat7. I'll make that in a separate video. So how do you make one? Well, first you need to get cabling, right? So if you don't have Cat5 or Cat6 cabling, you want to get some, right? So you go grab a box off of Amazon, and once you get the box, this is pretty much how it comes out. You just cut it on one end when you pull it out the box for the length that you need. When you're making a cable, you want to measure what you need, right? You don't need to be exact. You can leave some reserve. As a matter of fact, that's an industry kind of standard. You want to have a little bit of excess depending on what you're trying to do. If you're just trying to make a simple cable, it's really not that big a deal. Just guesstimate. You know, I would say just grab some and just cut a little bit, right? You can waste some of the cable. And I'd say about right here to my hand, I use my hand as a measurement. I'd say that's about 6 inches to about a foot or so. And just try to measure out a foot and then just cut that and then use that and be like, okay, this is, you know, guesstimate how many feet you need. So once you've got how much you need, got your cable, you do need a couple other items though. I probably should have started with that. So we have RJ45 Head. So they come in bags like these. They're so cheap, there's no point to sell them individually. I was silly and actually cut a hole in the bottom when there's a Ziploc type bag. Anyway, see, I should have opened this like an idiot. I was in a rush, most likely. So anyways, this is what you can't see it because it won't focus. I'll try to put it near my head, but basically this is what you see at the end of the finished cable. Now there's different types. There's ones that have like metal on the end, and that helps to connect when you're trying to ground things properly. So that your network cables don't actually get what I've had happen to me, where the over voltage in a storm or whichever will go through the cable and fry the port in which it's connected to. So, but anyways, you need these. They're like RJ45 ends. There's like so many different names, but if you just you know, Google it. But basically, this is a different type of RJ45 cable head. This is an EZ RJ45 cable end. And what that means is there's an opening here at the bottom. Again, there'll be some B-roll showing a closer look, but it allows the cables to go through. Okay, so that's basically what you do, and it's way easier in my opinion. I did cabling professionally. Not that I'm a professional expert. I just mean like as a profession, I was the guy running around fixing computers, running cable. I was the field engineer, if you will. I don't know why they didn't call me that, but that's what I was. I was field engineer. I was a guy running cable. I literally drilled holes in concrete walls to, you know, run wires to an outdoor WAP. I mean, I've done the whole thing. Anyways, so this is what you need. This is what you need. And there's something that you can use as a sleeve. I don't actually advise these. These are garbage. I don't know why I still have them. They're trash. Maybe it's just this. I should probably give that disclaimer. This is probably just these sleeves, but they're way too hard, which means you don't get a good grip when you're trying to disconnect it. It's supposed to be simple and easy, but it's not, at least with the ones I bought. Just do some reviews, do some Googling on RJ45 covers or sleeves. What would be the best, you know, brand or items to purchase, because you want to get something that's going to be easy to unplug. Because the reason why you do the sleeves, it looks nicer, it covers cables up, but it also, I'll show you in a minute, if you do your cabling right, this really doesn't matter, in my opinion, and it just makes it easier just to have the head. And the amount of times I've made cables, these are just garbage. These are to make things look prettier when nobody's ever going to see it. They're not looking at it. It's not customer facing. And if customers are looking at it, they don't care. They just want their internet to work. So that's the only reason why they're looking at it, is because it's not working. And you're guiding them to plug or unplug stuff if there's no field engineers or technicians available on site or available in state, because, you know, sometimes you have remote customers. So that's what you need. Let's dive into how to actually kind of wire it together. Now, basically, you'll need other tools for that. I essentially just got this EZ RJ45 Crimper tool. It's by Klein Tools. I definitely would advise it. There's probably way better ones. This is just what I bought at my local Home Depot. So what it has is at the bottom there, as you can see, I'm not trying to put it through my eye, I'm just trying to get it to focus. But essentially you have one for RJ11 here and one for RJ45 here. So essentially what it does is, like I mentioned, on this end, the wires would go through the end, the RJ45 cable end, and you basically just, you push it through and you crimp it and it cuts it off and you're good. And it's so much easier because you can push, and I'll show you here in just a second, but you can push the wires all the way through to where the blue part of the cable is actually inside the RJ45 end. So let's get into that. There's other tools that you would need when you're trying to do a repair. Repairs, I'll just briefly go over that. So repairs can include a Keystone Jack, okay? It can include a coupler. I don't have a coupler. I'll show you a photo of the coupler. It can, that's pretty much it. I mean, you got a couple of different ways you can do it. You can individually wire things, but I don't suggest that due to the exposed wiring and the fact that they need to be twisted to reduce, they need to be connected properly, not improperly. Otherwise, you will get data loss, packet loss, speed problems. I mean, it needs to be made the way it's supposed to be made and connected the way it's supposed to be connected. There is no other way you can do it. Otherwise, you're just having a jank setup that's not going to work the way it's designed. So, to make it, we go ahead and we want to focus on, again, I'm probably going to do this again and show you B-roll because I don't have a secondary camera set up. You want to sheathe or shed the sleeve on here, so you're basically just going to strip this. There's a stripper, but it doesn't really work that well because I've tried to do this and it doesn't work as well as I thought. Maybe this might work this time. I guess it also depends on the pressure you put on there. But anyways, so you got a bunch of mess in here that you don't need, like this, you know, whatever this is. I don't know what it's for. But this right here, this is kind of important because what it does is it just, number one, it gives structure to the cable. Number two, it also separates the twisted pairs. It does no shielding. This has no purpose in shielding. It's just to separate the twisted pairs in the cable. Okay, so you don't need these two parts, so you can basically just cut them off with a knife or even the tool, actually. So let's just do that. Actually, you can do it on the other way. That way you're closer to the blade. So bring it in here and snip. These things, snip, snip. There we go. There we go. Got that stuff done. So now we have the cables here, and we want to focus on basically... I know you guys can't see, but I'll do B-roll over this again of the whole process here. You want to untwist all these pairs, and once they're all untwisted, you're going to follow the T568B standard. The Klein Tools that I have actually has it on there. You can see if it's going to focus. Anyways, you can tell. You get the point. So you untwist all these. It gets really annoying, so you just kind of have to do it multiple times to figure out which way is going to work best for the wire. It's going to hurt your fingertips, forewarning. Okay, so once we get these untwisted, I wanted to do this like real time and not just like, here's a bunch of clips, because I want you to be able to walk through this with me. Because if you're trying to make a cable, you want to know how to do it right. So now we have them all untwisted. Okay, and we're looking at T56AB. So I'll look at my tool here, and T56AB is basically orange, white, orange, green, white, blue. So we'll start on the left side, because essentially what you're doing is you're focusing on wiring it the way that you have. This is super important. I need you guys to pay attention at this point. If you haven't liked this video, I would appreciate that. Sub and all that cool stuff while I have your attention. But you want the pin part where you kind of push the little button deal, where you push to, you know, eject it out of a port. You want this facing down, okay? So the orange part of T56AB is going to be on the left side. The brown part of it's going to be on the right side. And like I said, I'm not claiming to be an expert. I've just done this professionally and cabled a bunch of stuff that's still working today. So once you get this, you want to do your orange, white, orange. So bring the cable over here on the left side. Okay, and then orange, white, orange. So get the orange over here. And the way that I do this is I pinch a certain area, like right here, and I keep that to be the same. I want to make sure I have every cable that I bring over, and I just continue to like wiggle it. I just continue to wiggle it, right? Wiggle it. To where the cables are kind of close together, and you want to try to get these little tiny bends out. Don't do the twisty knot, because you're gonna break the wire off. They are very brittle. Not brittle, but like if you twist too much, it is actual copper wire in there, and you guys can basically break the wire, which is very annoying because you only got to strip more wire. It's just tedious, so just be careful. All right, so you got your orange, white, orange. Moving on to green, white, blue. So grab the green, white. Okay, just make sure you got all those three aligned up there. Okay, and then we're gonna get blue. Don't worry so much about the tips right now. The tip right here, don't worry so much about that. They're gonna be a little frayed and maybe not together, but just make sure you got the base and the majority of the wires in the same routing. So we got our green, white, and we want to do blue. So we got the blue here. Okay, you got the blue. And again, keep in mind, it's okay if these wires get crossed at the bottom. It really only matters if they're in the right order at the top here, which you can continue to fix as you go. But just make sure that there's not so much space in between, because you want to make sure these are basically sticks next to each other, which is not easy. Okay, and then once you have your blue, all right, you do blue, white. So let's grab blue, white and bring it on over. Okay, so now we have orange, white, orange, and these are going to get mixed up. Like what's happening right now is they're getting mixed up on me. So you got to go orange, white, orange, and then green, white, blue, and then blue, white. So sometimes you got to go back through and make sure you got it right. Confirm it before you put it inside of the RJ45 end. All right. So once you have that, there we go. And keep in mind, some of the bends at the bottom are going to make some look taller than the others. That's all right. Just make sure you have it in the right order there. Okay, so we have that. Next, we're doing green. So we have blue, white, and then green. Okay. Blue, white, and then green. There we go. See this? It gets a little messed up there, but you just got to keep wiggling it to get it to cooperate with you. And some of the bends are really bad. You got to do it in that area. Okay, and then we got the green, and so now we're focused on the browns. So we bring the browns over here, and we're just doing brown, white, brown. There you go. And there might be better ways to do this. As I'm teaching you guys, I'm probably thinking of some better ideas. But basically, the goal here is to get all of them in a row, and then make sure you got your which ones are which. You got to keep pressing so that there's only one wire together. So you got your orange, white, orange, and then your green, white. So that's messed up. So we got to fix that on my end. So we got to move these guys around. That's the green, white. Okay. We just make sure the green, white is there, and then blue. So we just bring blue back over here. Okay, so now we got our blue. Okay. And then once you get everything together, we redo the blue, white, and bring the blue, white back over here. Don't try to cross them too much on the bottom. They're going to cross. Don't worry about it. And once you have like I said, it's tedious. Once you have everything like that, and then we got green, white, and then blue, and then blue, white, and then green. So we have those together, and then brown, white, and then brown. So once you have a section of the wire that's perfect, the way that it's supposed to be, then you want to cut it. Like, make sure you have at least a thumbnail of perfect aligned wiring, and you want to take this guy at the knife, and you want to cut it so everything is the same length at the tip there. So we reconfirm, we can lay your finger against it like this, and just kind of go over it. Do we have orange, white, orange? We do. Green, white, blue, and then blue, white, green, and then brown, white, brown. Perfect. Then we have the end here. We have the end facing the tail end is what I'll call it, or the pin or push button or whatever, down. And then we want to push it in, make sure that the wiring is still the same. Push it through and push it all the way through to where everything is basically inside the cable as best as you can. Because like you said, there's going to be some bends in there, and they're going to be at the bottom. But once we get this pushed through all the way, okay, now you have a wire that has the blue end inside of the RJ45 end. Okay, like I said, I'll have some B-roll showing this, and I'll probably do a better job. But now you got the wires passing through. We need to make sure, again, you just want to continuously make sure that you have the right cabling, because you don't want to make a mistake, go through all this trouble, all this pain with your fingertips, and it's very annoying. I've done it before, where I go through all this and I realize I f***ed up the cable, and it's very frustrating. Okay, so now we are going to crimp the end. So we want to make sure that we have this end like this, and we pass it through so that it's pushed all the way through. You see the cables right there. And then we just want to make sure it's secure, and we crimp it down, crimp it one more time, crimp it a third time, and that's it. That's it. You repeat this on the other end, and you have yourself a newly made custom length RJ45 cable. Now, I'm not going to do it on the other end because literally all I'm doing is just repeating this, so it's pointless. All right, so what I want to do is I want to just help you understand how to repair a cable. So I'm going to purposely damage this cable. Okay, so there's some damaged cable, right? You see that? Can you see it? I'll try to zoom in. But basically, you don't know if that's going to work, and you're having problems with your data connection because it's in and out, right? Well, we first want to cut it, okay? Cut. Now, that you might be able to do something with the other cable, so I would say keep it if you can, but we want to cut it right after to where we have some good solid cable. Cut that. Okay, now we have the area cut off behind the broken part of the cable. Okay, and then we go a little bit back behind the break. And we do the same thing. We cut it. All right. So now we have a fresh cable, just like we just started with earlier, right? So now we're in the same spot we were earlier. You just repeat the same steps as you did before to put another RJ45 head on this guy, and you're good. Now, there is situations in where you don't have all the tools, but you do have some leftover stuff from maybe a project, okay? Why you wouldn't have any leftover RJ45 ends, I don't know, but, you know, it's whatever. The point is, this is about repairing, and sometimes you only have certain things. So you can take these wires, and instead of using an RJ45 head, you use a Keystone Jack. What this does is this end, okay, if you can do it, you'll basically just do the same thing with this extra little cable, Okay, since you already have it, this is why I was saying go ahead and keep this piece if it's because it's still good cable. Or you just have that one damage, and obviously if it's bad, it's bad. You know, you try it, it doesn't work, and then you grab some more cable and you try to do the same thing. So you have this wire, you do the same thing, you put an RJ45 end on this side, and now you have yourself about a 1 foot cable. We consider them patch cables when they come in 1 foot pre-manufactured. And then you want to focus on this right here, the Keystone Jack. All right, I'll have some B-roll of that as well. But the Keystone Jack, basically, you have wires on one end, which essentially would be inside of a drywall. And then the other end you would plug the wire into. So let me go ahead and open this up. Now you want to be careful when you open this up because there's 2 pieces of plastic. See these guys right here? You can't see them. I have to... Oh, I got a lot of B-roll clips to grab. They're little clips, okay? And they go into this guy just like this. Okay? Just like that. And let me put it next to the microphone so you can hear the clip. So that's what it does. All right? That's the whole purpose of it. And let me undo it. I don't know if I can. There we go. I can pop it off. All right. So with this, you can tell that it has the T56A and B written on the sides, which is perfect because we're doing T56B, so it's going to be the bottom row. So we have it basically each little you got, I don't know what is it gonna, okay, it's gonna, there we go. Anyways, you see these little pins there? So each little line is actually for one cable. Okay, so you do your orange, white, orange, and essentially it's going to sit in just like this. You want to do a similar thing that you did with the RJ45 end. You want to get the blue piece as close to this as possible. So what I do is, I don't even care. I just put this whole thing right here on this end, and I just try to wire the wires in there. I mean, I try to get like maybe right here to start, and then I drag the cables or the wires in as far as I can, and then you're just going to drape each one. You're going to put pressure. I'll just go ahead and show you. Okay, so we got some cable here. You're going to get rid of the plastic piece and the little, whatever the other stuff is. But I'm just going to use one pair as an example so I don't have to undo all of these. But essentially, you're going to have your undone pairs, and you're going to bring them into about like that. Okay, so it's going to be like this. So I'll do this side as an example here. All right, and you want, obviously you would have already had this little stuff cut off and this cut off, but when you have it in here, you're going to drape it over on this side. Keep in mind the T56AB, so on this area would technically be the green and then green white, so I'll just keep the solids the same here. So you drape it over and you're going to push it down, okay, to where the wires are draping over, and that's pretty much it. Then there's another tool that you need. It's called a crimper. Not the same one we just used. It's a different one. This is for crimping these Keystone Jacks. And so you want to make sure that, again, I'll have some B-roll, that these drape over like this, okay? And then on a hard surface, like a table, you want to take this guy. This is a crimper tool. Yeah, I believe so. I could be wrong. That's fine. But the whole point of this thing is it crimps, or, you know. Okay, so now you don't want to do this in your hand because there's a sharp part here. Okay, so I'm not going to actually do it. I'm just going to show you the action. Okay, so you would essentially take this. It's got a little U shape, and you follow into it on a hard surface. Okay, I'll just do it so you can kind of hear what it sounds like. Hopefully you can. And again, I'll have some B-roll of this. So you just do it on a hard surface. You hold the other end down, and you're focusing on this. Okay, you want to push down. You got to use some lever, and it cuts the sharp parts on purpose because it cuts the excess wire. So you do it again on the other one, and do it again. You might need to do it 2 or 3 times, a couple times, and now you have, as you can see, I'm not holding the cable. You have a cable that is now crimped into so there's little metal ends in there that peer into it and push up against the copper wire in there so that it can contact it. And then there you go. So obviously this is already connected, so I'll try to just pull it off. But then, you know, on the other end, you're going to just see these, just connect it right there. Boom. So you would have this wired on one side. You would have the same thing wired on the other side, and you would just use this 1-foot cable that has an RJ45 end on each end. You would do the same thing over here. So you would have this wired. You would, you know, have an end on here, and then boom, you're good. That's how you repair. That's one way to do it. I'm not saying it's the best way. I'm just saying it is a way that you can repair a network cable. That's one method. The other method is essentially, instead of a Keystone Jack, you cut, editing Wesley here, future Wesley, and I just wanted to chime in here as I was watching the footage back to get the B-roll. I realized that there was something that I didn't communicate. And so basically, instead of a coupler, you can just use another Keystone Jack, and essentially you just wire one end on the inside like this, and the other end would just be the RJ45 end. Now, this is where you would want to make sure that the blue end is obviously as inside as possible, and that those covers, these covers right here, go on like this and go over like this. Make sure they're both in there. Obviously mine looks like crap because it's just not, I'm just trying to show you the example. And so you obviously don't want the cables or the wires sticking out like that. That wouldn't happen because you would obviously have crimped them off. But essentially this would be the same thing as a coupler. Now, some people might not prefer it, might not think it's the best practice, but it is, in a pinch, a way that you can make essentially a coupler without needing a coupler and putting an RJ45 end on each end. But if you have a coupler, you're good to go. If you want it to look neater, you can do a coupler. Now, here's the thing where you don't, I want to be clear here, do not use a coupler because you're trying to make a cable longer. That's not correct. That does not work. That's not the way it's supposed to be. You would want to just get a switch. If you want to be able to get a longer connection, you get a switch. It's powered, and it also passes the data so that you're not losing the signal. That's going to be the best way you want to do it. So that is how you create and make an RJ45 network Ethernet cable, and how you can repair one. If you felt this was helpful, let me know in the comments down below. Again, I'm not an expert here, okay? I've just been doing this for a while, so this is more like tricks of the trade, doing it actually in the professional realm. And so, you know, this can be same applied to Cat 6 cable, because I do recall actually in the field I was working with Cat 6 cable. Cat 6 cable just has shielding. So when you go to clip it and you strip it, around it is shielding, and you have to get rid of that shielding in addition to the plastic piece and this. So it just means there's a tiny bit more work, but it's not a big deal. So again, if you have resources for people, if you have something for me to learn from, that's great. But I felt like I wanted to make this because the previous video that I made that's linked above, that's got like almost 7,000 views, which is great. Thank you all for watching it. Was me just messing around in my house, trying to, you know, make a fun vlog. The purpose of it was a vlog. It was not a tutorial. It was just, I was teaching you guys stuff, showing you different things while I was doing it. Okay, if it was a tutorial, I would have a proper setup and I would just show you how to do each and every step. But it was really just a vlog, so this video, I thought I would go ahead and do it because it's essentially the Keystone Jack with a wall plate, which I have here. So the wall plate is how you would, because this is an RJ45 wall plate. If you don't already have one in your wall, I would just replace it regardless. Even if the one that you have existing works. I just like to work with what I know works, and I'd prefer to buy brand new. If I was repairing somebody's Ethernet port in their house, I would see if the existing one works, but more than likely than not, it's been there for over a decade, so I would just prefer it. It's like, these are pennies. It's pointless. Just get new. I mean, it's just, it's better. It looks nicer. So yeah, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching again. If you have resources to help everybody in the comments or me put them in the comments down below. I would greatly appreciate it. And if they're good resources, I will pin the comment. And yeah, so catch you guys next time.